The return. Here's an invitation to go on a journey into the past, to visit a place where things happened many years ago, like old soldiers, years after the truce, walking across the battlefields on which they were tested. Now all danger is past and all difficulties overcome. The scars of the earth are hidden. Grass has long since grown again. Meadow flowers bloom. Raspberry bushes are heavy, and their fruit scents the air. It may even be difficult to recognize this place. It looks so different from what we remember, and we need help to find our way. It's curious as to the many different ways in which we cope with danger. A child freezes in terror at the sight of a large dog. Mother comes, picks the child up, and holds him or her in her arms. The tension goes, sobs break loose, and soon, from the safety of that lofty perch, the child looks back calmly at the dog. Sometimes we can't stand the sight of our own blood, but if we look away, we scarcely feel the pain. What a relief to look away, each sense working independently of the other, no longer all focused on that one event. Then we no longer feel overwhelmed, and we can see what is, and hear what is, and feel what is, and know what is independent of our fears. This journey allows each of us, according to individual desire, to see all, but not all at once, to experience all, but not without protection. That way, what's important can be distinguished from what is not, and whoever prefers may send another in his or her stead, like a dreamer sitting comfortably at home in a favorite chair, watching with closed eyes. The dreamer makes the journey and can meet all that needs to be resolved and still be safe at home, asleep. The journey takes us to a city that was once rich and famous and is now a ghost town filled with emptiness. The shafts where gold was mined are in ruins. The empty houses are standing intact, the opera house waiting for the audience. But everything has been abandoned, and there's nothing left but memories. Whoever travels there seeks and finds a guide, and following this lead reaches the place where memories awaken. This is the place where long ago painful things occurred. But now the sun is shining, warming the abandoned town. The streets, which once buzzed with life, are calm. The traveler wanders up and down the streets and finds the remembered house, but hesitates to enter. The guide enters the house alone to see if it's safe and to determine what has been left from what was there before. Waiting outside, the traveler looks around the empty street, remembering neighbors and old friends, remembering the times of laughter, the light-hearted mischief of a child bursting with the joy of life, curious to try new things, pushing towards adventure into the great unknown, toward the thrill of fear defied. Thus time passes. The guide waves. The traveler goes into the entry of the house and knows which people could have helped that child to overcome the difficulties of that past time. People who were strong and loving and knowing. It's as if those people were now present, as if their voices could be heard and their strength felt. The guide takes the traveler by the hand, and together they move on. Holding tightly to the guiding hand, the traveler looks calmly at the room, seeing first one thing, then another. And finally, everything exactly as it happened. Strange how different it all seems when looked at from a centered place in the company of the guide. Memories long shut out return safely, and many fragments find their place within the whole. The traveler waits patiently until he understands. With the memories, old emotions well up, and with the pain, one feels one's love. It's like returning home, knowing what endures beyond revenge and right or wrong, trusting destiny to take its course, humility to heal, and gentleness of spirit to bring peace. The traveler breathes deeply, releasing tensions long held that now flow away like water into the desert sand. The guide then turns and says, "Perhaps you carried something away from here that didn't belong to you. Perhaps a guilt from someone, or an illness, or a belief, or a feeling that isn't yours. Perhaps it's a decision you then made that caused you harm. All these you must leave here where they belong." The words take effect. Letting out a great sigh, the traveler feels relief, at last laying down a heavy burden. The guide speaks once again. Maybe then you abandoned something that you should have taken with you. It may have been some ability or desire, some guilt or innocence, perhaps some memory or hope, or the courage to engage with life fully. Gather up what you lost or left and take it with you into your future. These words too take their effect, reviewing what was given away and reclaiming what longs to be reclaimed. The traveler feels the earth underfoot and the swelling weight of personal substance. The guide leads the traveler still further until they reach a hidden door. They open it and at last find what reconciles. Now there is nothing more to be resolved in this old place. Feeling ready, the traveler thanks the guide, turns, and begins the journey back. At home again, he takes the time he needs to come to terms with this newly found freedom and strength. But secretly, he already plans the next journey, this time into some new and unknown land.